General Hamid Gul is a retired Pakistani Army general known for heading the Inter-Service Intelligence, the premier Pakistani intelligence agency after the Soviet and during the Soviet-Afghan War. Hamid Gul served as Director General of Pakistan's Inter-Services Intelligence from 87-89, mainly in the time when Benazir Bhutto was Prime Minister of Pakistan. He was instrumental in the anti-Soviet support of the Mujahideen in the Afghanistan War, 79-89. He, of course, was involved in several of the big conflicts with India as a infantry commander. And I wanted to get him on because even Yahoo ran with the headline yesterday that the head of Pakistani intelligence currently has now come out and said the West is creating fake Taliban al-Qaeda, trying to give them chemical, biological, radiological weapons to then frame Pakistan. So what General Hamid Gul said a few weeks ago here on air is now being said by the government itself. And we have the other news that I just covered. NATO helicopter attacks Pakistani army post. Associated Press. Pakistani military says the helicopters came across the border. They opened up on them, but it's also being reported that the U.S. helicopters may have fired first, claiming they were being fired at from across the border, and that 2 Pakistani army soldiers were injured. And Pakistan says this is of serious escalation. General Gul, what you talked about a few weeks ago is beginning to unfold.
Yes, indeed, Alex. I think things are getting worse now because I think the American generals are showing an aptitude for brinkmanship. And they want to trash President Obama's plan to withdraw if he does wish to withdraw. I think the American people are overwhelmingly now looking at Afghanistan a lost cause and that they should not spend even a bullet or a single life be lost there. But unfortunately, the generals and their backers there in the Congress as well as in the media, they want to press on and they want to open another front towards Pakistan. I don't know. This is a very critical time for the American policymakers. Now, we know that these Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan is being sponsored from across the Durand line from Afghanistan, where RAW, the Indian intelligence, and of course Mossad is also in collusion with them. And under the umbrella of the CIA, they are creating problems for Pakistan. They want to build a case against Pakistan that it is a failing state, and that a failing state which is under threat of increasingly the Taliban ingress, and therefore it must not possess the nuclear weapons. This is something which is going to be very dangerous because it could very easily, if they try to play games with Pakistan and let's say they actually come in for our nuclear assets, then it is going to trigger the Third World War, I'm afraid. I don't wish to go into detail of this, but I can tell you that it will ignite an inferno which will consume the entire region and may even trigger a Third World War, like I said. So this is the height of brinkmanship, and it is very unfair to the American people who want this money, $135 billion a year in Afghanistan. They wanted to redress their imbalances in their economic system, and they are indebted to the tune of about $14.5 trillion. So it's very unfair to the people of Afghanistan, people of Pakistan, and most of all to the people of America, the way they are proceeding about the whole thing.
General Gul, for new radio listeners that just joined us, it is now in the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, LA Times, that the core group launching attacks on Gaddafi and financed by British and U.S. intelligence, CIA commandos and MI6 commandos is al-Qaeda. Our agents trained in the United States, the leader of the rebels for 2 decades. Here is Yahoo News and The Nation magazine. Even The Nation's own report, CIA's fake Taliban wreaking Pakistan terror havoc. Here's Yahoo News. CIA has created own Taliban to wreak terror havoc on Pakistan, claims Pakistan paper. And then when I read these articles, it's got the head of the Pakistani intelligence coming out now. And previously I hadn't heard these type of incredible statements. We already knew the truth. It's hidden in plain view, and they caught the CIA guy. Now they're reporting with chemical, biological, and radiological, trying to get it to their al-Qaeda double agent CIA people. But now it appears to be 100% clear. I'm getting chills talking about it. They're getting ready to try to frame Pakistan and launch some type of military attack on you. And the whole fake bin Laden situation, the killing of bin Laden a few weeks ago, is another way to try to frame Pakistan. What do you make of your government now coming out and being more public and seconding what you have said?
Yes, I've been saying that all along, Alex, and on your shows also I've been mentioning this. But now I think the democratic government in Pakistan has come fully on the back of the military institutions. It has passed a resolution, and it must be read carefully because America values democracy, and it is the representative house which has passed a unanimous resolution. And it should not be taken lightly that Pakistan is a pushover. Pakistan is a very important country, very large country, and people of Pakistan are really angered and enraged against their own institution that they are not doing anything. So I think this charade must end now. This playing along of the military and the ISI along with the CIA's all dirty tricks, it has to come to an end, and I think people of Pakistan are going to take account of all these things, and you may find that America's line of supply may be cut off like it was done in the past. For 10 days, one of the routes, only one of the routes, there are two routes which enter Afghanistan, and only one of the routes was blocked for 10 days, and they came because they ran out of the toilet papers and the mineral water and all the others. It's not going to be easy. I don't know why these generals, they are making such huge mistakes. They are being very impetuous about this. This administration, President Obama's administration, is showing enormous weakness. They have got to take a stand against their generals who are adventurous and they want to now go in for Pakistan. It will be a disastrous thing to happen.
General Gul, to be clear, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm reading this from U.S. papers, but Pakistan did pass a resolution, and your prime minister has said that if helicopters come in with another raid, they're going to basically be shot down. If that happens, then I would imagine that we know the Pentagon is basically trying to start a war with Pakistan, and we have this latest incursion firing on the military base. Can you briefly expand on that? And do you have intel basically to expand on your statement that U.S. generals are trying to continue the wars and trying to basically flee forward and force Obama to continue the wars by trying to stir up trouble?
Exactly. They are provoking this conflict, unfortunately. They want to expand and open another front. They have opened front in Libya, and they have gone into it. All the al-Qaeda members, as you were just mentioning, who were fighting in Iraq, now they are congregating in Libya. So what is this paradox? On the one hand, you are hunting for al-Qaeda. On the other hand, you are supporting al-Qaeda. This is a very strange policy which is being pursued. Same for Pakistan. Now, Pakistan has to be treated either as enemy or friend. Now, this is a strange situation, a very ambivalent situation, where Pakistan is being described now as frenemy. I mean, friend as well as enemy. Now, this can't last very long. I think we are a nation of 180 million people. We are a nuclear power, and I can assure you that if they have any designs against our nuclear assets, then they will be making a very huge miscalculation. They must not play this dangerous game. So these generals are out of the control. They are straining on the leash to be launched against Pakistan, and this is not going to work. I can assure you this will be a very great historic disservice to the people of America.
Well, sir, just a few final questions in the minutes we have left with you. The 2008 report that was leaked to Reuters, where the Bush administration had the plan floated by them by McChrystal to launch commando raids on the nuclear launch sites and nuclear weapons program of Pakistan. And, I mean, they've got to know that those forces would be destroyed. They've got to know that's impossible, so that would be a sacrificial gambit with a pawn. to have Pakistan crush that pawn and then say we must avenge our troops. I mean, McChrystal was not insane, and Petraeus is not insane. They have to know that Pakistan has a giant, heavily trained military, and that those nuclear bases are heavily guarded, and that it would be a suicide mission. I mean, is this what they're trying to gear up for, or how else are they planning to try to start World War III?
Well, if they try to come in, they will have to attack almost 100 places in Pakistan, not at once, because Pakistan's nuclear assets are spread out. We have always been suspicious of America's design against our nuclear assets, and therefore we have taken good care of it, and our command control system is very good. If they have gotten encouraged because of their raid on Abbottabad, on so-called Osama's compound, and they think that they can repeat it against our nuclear weapons also, I think there could be nothing more harebrained than this particular idea. The sooner they disabuse themselves of this notion, the better it is for all of us.
Well, they're openly floating for now 3 years special forces attacks on giant Pakistani military bases. I mean, you guys have gone to war with India, fighting a much larger force and basically beat them and backed them off. I mean, they're really asking. I mean, this is insane. Clearly, they know it's going to fail. Do you agree with me that that could be a plan to then say we must avenge the American soldiers that died on the raids? Because we know they're not going to succeed. I mean, if they go in, it's a suicide. Trying to go into heavily fortified bunker military bases with helicopters.
Not only that, they will not succeed and they will suffer a lot of casualties. But after that, withdrawal from Afghanistan will become virtually impossible. There is no Gulf of Tonkin adjoining Afghanistan where they could ferry their troops by helicopters to the waiting ships in the Gulf of Tonkin. Here they will have to go through Pakistan, and what will happen then is anybody's guess, and I can assure you we will come full throttle as far as the American withdrawal is concerned. Then this will become an impossibility. So they better not harbor these ideas. They have to withdraw. They have to provide relief to their own people. They are suffering because of economic deficit and shortfalls. They have to take care of the health problems, the healthcare, etc. We know the problem that America is suffering. So why now open another front? I don't know what has gone wrong. I think there is some very, very dark impulse which is driving them to this madness.
Well, yes, they want to open this up as a front to, I guess, entice China in. A lot of our inside sources say the insane elite that run our system are contemplating having a nuclear war with Russia and China right now, and that they just plan to trigger the whole thing in Pakistan. That's what a lot of our high-level sources are saying, General Gul. In closing, you talked to a lot of the Pakistani elite. You know, you're a 3-star general, retired, former head of Pakistani intelligence, highly respected. You're all over international TV, not just Pakistan television. What are the Pakistani elite saying? Because from what I've seen, this is getting them out of the ambivalent, you know, trying to work with the West and bending over backwards, understanding that you better get on a war footing, and it seems to be hardening Pakistan ahead of what's coming. I mean, is that an incorrect summation, and do you see any way out of this?
No, I think they have got to. It depends on the political decision that President Obama has to take, and I think he should take this decision before or around 1st of June so that his troops start withdrawing, as he had promised, starting from 1st of July, so that their families can celebrate the return of their troops on 4th of July, which is your national day. So I think this ought to be the concern of President Obama, not the other way around, that you get more engaged and go into deeper and deeper morass. Now, Pakistan is naturally, of course, the mood is very belligerent in Pakistan. We think that we have been terribly betrayed. We have been betrayed in the past, but not to the extent that we have been betrayed now. We have suffered hugely on account of this phony war against terrorism, and Pakistan is now getting closer and closer to China and to Russia. This is the first time that Pakistan has reached out to Moscow. This is amazing now because it is the doing of Americans, because a country like Pakistan, who's been such a staunch ally and who's done so much of service to American being in the place where they are now, And if we are pushed into the lap of Russia and China wholly, I mean, we go whole hog to this camp, then this is going to be a very major upset for the American strategy.
It's almost like someone wants to destroy America. I mean, looking at this from a geopolitical purview and studying all the different angles and different permutations, it's horrible for the West. It's horrible for freedom. It endangers the entire planet, and the stratagem is clearly, during this global depression, to try to launch at least a major regional war. General Hamid Gul, thank you so much for spending time with us and adding your considerable gravitas and acumen to our overall analysis. Thank you, General.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Savik.
All right, there goes General Hamid Gul. Folks, the globalists already tried to start World War III with the Russians, and cooler heads prevailed when the Russians rolled nukes in Georgia, and somebody told Cheney, knock it off, and they pulled the NATO troops out. Again, I'm an American, but the globalists want to position us in this primitive, simple-minded, one-dimensional thinking of, well, if you're for America, let's have nuclear war with China and Russia. Woohoo! And let's get them Pakistanis. Pakistan's been our ally, folks. I mean, this is insane. And they've got al-Qaeda brigades all running over to Libya, openly run by the criminals that run our government. Our government has been taken over by globalists who want to destroy America, who want to destroy our economy, and who want to get us into wars while they finance our destruction, and then they end up on top sitting over in Europe. And I told you this for years because in the 30s we got some of the numbers on the Federal Reserve and haven't gotten them since. But you can also go separately study the Federal Reserve U.S. members and then who really owns them. And I told you most of it, more than 70% is what many of our experts have broken down, Ron Paul and others, is owned by European banks. I'm not bashing people in France or Germany or England. It's not about them. It's about the parasitic bank system that runs them, runs us, and you know, I mean, the global bankers put Hitler into power, financed him, financed Stalin, set that whole thing up. That's part of historical record. Goaded Hitler, told him he'd have support invading. The King of England was pro-Hitler. That's why they had Rudolf Hess fly over and try to parachute in and with a peace treaty, and they locked him up with no trial. He was saying, we got a peace treaty with you. We got an agreement. We don't want to go to war with you. That was a deputy Fuhrer, like the vice president, flying over. I mean, they will bring in World War III to get their world government on its ashes. That was always the plan. World War I, League of Nations. World War II, UN. World War III, world government. And, man, this is such a dangerous time. We'll be right back.